Is this the king of biopics? Let's talk about it. All right, welcome back to the channel. We have a movie review today. We're taking a look at Michael from 2026. All right, so this film is a biopic of Michael Jackson. It follows his early career in the Jackson 5 all the way through his career through the 80s, coming up with Off the Wall and Thriller. So yeah, uh, trying not to, the guy, he's one of the most popular artists of all time, so it's kind of hard not to spoil this film. But the one thing about this film that I will kind of spoil is it's not a true full life biopic. This film really just chronicles the early ages through the Jackson 5 all the way through the 80s. So you don't get anything past 1989, essentially. So a lot of the later albums and the kind of controversy through his career in the later days and things like that, you don't get that in this film. And I think that's kind of some of the narrative around this particular movie is that it doesn't go all the way. It doesn't talk about all that. So, and I don't think that necessarily was the aim of this film. Really, the true narrative thread of this film is the tension between Michael Jackson and his father. That's really what this movie's about. Ultimately, it goes through a lot of the highlights of his early career and things like that. But the true narrative thread of this film is him and his father having clashes of kind of where the career will go and things like that. That's truly what this film is about. But okay, so my thoughts on the film. It was a fine enough film in regards to showcasing Michael's career. The music, fantastic. The Javar Jackson, who played Michael in this, did a very good job, I think, of kind of becoming Michael and playing that character. So did a very good job there. But as a movie, as a narrative story that tells the life of Michael Jackson, I thought that's where this film was kind of a letdown. It was, as I've seen some reviewers call it, kind of soulless and things like that. But it really just rapid fires through the early career of Michael Jackson. It's like, hey, remember this thing? We're going to show you this thing. And then all of a sudden jump to the next thing. And it really just goes over the big highlights of his early to young career and then sprinkles in some of the family drama that you somewhat know about from what you've heard about Michael Jackson and the tensions in the family with the father and things like that. So that's really what this movie is. It really just kind of fast forwards through many of the elements and things like that to really get to the music and get to the performance and things like that. So as a movie itself, it's paced very quickly, even though it's a little over 2 hours, and you don't get a lot of meat in the sequences and things like that. So that's where it's kind of a letdown. It doesn't really let you sit in the moment and like really like gravitate to like really caring for the character and things like that. And the movie does a few things to set up kind of some of the controversies, like with the potential addiction to pain pills and things like that. It doesn't get into the whole the child things and things like that. So you don't get any hints or things about that and kind of what direction the movie's narrative wants to speak about that. One thing it does do, it does kind of tease at the end that there might be a sequel to this to talk about his later career, which by the box office results, this movie is doing incredibly well. I think it's currently, I think in week 3, and it just won the U.S. box office again. It overtook the box office. So the movie is making a lot of money worldwide and domestically. So there is a very good chance we might see the continuation of this story. But as a movie itself and as a standalone film, I think this movie doesn't hit the mark in regards to wanting to tell a full, complete story. It's just really a fast forwarding through the career and just giving you a little bit of tidbits of kind of the emotional side of kind of what's going on with the family dynamic. So unfortunately, yeah, this film doesn't really work for me as a true full-blown biopic that really, I think, like elevates it to the level of like things like Ray and things like that, like the big films, Walk the Line and things like that. The ones that would be like Oscar consideration and things like that. I don't think this will, anywhere touch any of that. Maybe some of the music and things like that, but none of it's original music, so probably won't even get in that category. But so yeah, unfortunately, not the greatest film. But if you love Michael Jackson, if you love the music, and if you want to see a portrayal of that, definitely go check it out. It's a feast for the eyes in regards to the performance, and again, the music they replicate is fantastic. So very well done there. I'm going to end up giving this film a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, it just doesn't work as a movie the way they pieced it together in the pace. It's just kind of a bunch of flashing scenes and things like that. So, yeah, unfortunately, can't really give it much more than that. All right. Well, here's the usual line. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Would really appreciate it. Did you see Michael yet? What did you think of it? Um, Anything. Put any comments in. Apparently, some people said I missed some comments from like the early days on the channel, but I don't know if those got removed or what's going on. But haven't really seen too much engagement. Would really appreciate it. I'm going to maybe shake things up and do a few things different on the channel here, and see how that works. But as always, like I'm really just mostly focused on story and narrative, things like that. I let me know if you like me to get into more of the technical aspects of the filmmaking and things like that, or some of the more background on the filmmaking and things like that. But for me, story is king on film, and the way things are paced and the way things are presented to you. So that's really what I like to comment on and really talk through. Because I find if I'm not engaged in the story and what's being presented to me, none of the other stuff really matters that much. I mean, there could be, some highlights. I know some people say, oh, the score really stood out for me and things like that. And it's like, yeah, you can have things like that. But for me, the visceral enjoyment of a film is really getting engaged and engrossed in the story and the way the story is presented to you. So that's really what I like to focus on. So let me know what you think about the kind of style of the review that I do and things like that. If you'd like to see more or anything different and things like that. So, all right. Well, again, if I don't see you again, bye forever.